Good morning. It's an extreme honor to speak to the esteemed audience of University of Pavia. I'm grateful to the university for stepping up and organizing a meeting to help Afghanistan, and especially focusing on Afghanistan's future and supporting Afghan scholars and students. In August 15, the world witnessed a dramatic setback for Afghanistan, which shocked everyone and saddened us all. Many interpreted the collapse of Kabul as the defeat of Afghanistan, and the world community would together strive toward a peaceful, prosperous, and democratic country for 2 decades. Successes were made and several milestones were achieved. Alas, in the blink of an eye, it seemed that everything was gone. This, though, was seen inevitable by many political pundits. Many wrote that a military defeat was already inescapable and the US was defeated years ago. I think it could have been avoided. To me, the event on August represented bad faith and disbelief in what the world and Afghans had achieved. Thus, we could say that if we had enough time to preserve our progress and solidify our winning in the field of education, democracy, civil society, and public and democratic institutions, we could have made a better decision of withdrawal, perhaps in 2025, and called it victory. So I think we were so cynical about everything that we forgot about everything we had achieved and what was at stake in Afghanistan. Until August 15, despite years of war and conflict, efforts to make progress in the field of human rights, education, women, development, market economy, and civil society, fighting corruptions, and building our institutions and civil service were in the heart of daily struggle of many Afghans. Afghans very well knew that without building their society, investing in education, building our democratic and civil society, economy, and public services, we couldn't achieve to end war and conflict. Thus, progress in the field of promotion and protection of human rights, women rights, and freedoms were real, as were the challenges and gross daily human rights violations. Thus, progress towards rule of law and justice was real, as were corruptions, weak rule of law, and injustices. Thus, there was hope and daily struggle for democracy, civil society, and development, as was fear from Taliban, ISIS, and conflict. Thus, women could attend schools and go to work, as there were violence against women and structural discrimination against them. This was especially true when we look at the gains made in the field of education. With the support of the international community, we were able to send over 7 million children to school every year, 3 million of them girls students. We built thousands of new schools and over 131 higher education institutions housed over hundreds of thousands students. As I said, the difference between a developed, prosperous, and a country in peace with the world and its citizens, a Taliban-ruled country, is to promote human rights values, invest in education, gender equality, and the youth and children, free women, empower them to work, attend schools, and participate in public affairs. In this regard, investing on human resources and educating Afghan students, both men and women, preserving their scholarships and supporting its academia is key. I believe that despite the tragic sense of defeat, Afghans will remain hopeful. They are a resilient nation and has survived years of war and conflicts.
Scusate se interrompo, ma siamo rimasti d'accordo che a metà messaggio ci sarà la traduzione e poi i prossimi 4 minuti verranno tradotti, per cui cedo la parola a Fulvia. Ciao Fulvia, sei collegata?
Scusate, adesso mi sentite? Mi sentite?
Sì, ti sentiamo bene.
Allora ripeto, buongiorno a tutti, è un estremo onore per me essere qui oggi, sono estremamente grato all'Università di Pavia per l'enorme sostegno che sta dando agli studiosi e agli studenti afghani. Il 15 di agosto è stato un grande shock per il nostro paese, con il crollo di Kabul, con il crollo di tutto quello che era stato costruito in termini di democrazia pacifica e di quelle che erano state le pietre miliari che avevamo costruito negli anni precedenti. Proprio nel corso di un istante è sparito tutto quanto. Ma questa sconfitta avrebbe potuto non esserci se avessimo avuto ancora qualche anno di tempo per consolidare quello che avevamo raggiunto, per riuscire a conservare la nostra democrazia e le nostre istituzioni. Sicuramente le cose sarebbero andate meglio. Ora dobbiamo dimenticare in questo momento tutto quello che avevamo conquistato, l'istruzione, la libertà per le donne, l'economia di mercato, la società civile e tante altre cose che non sto qui ad elencarvi. Se la società, questo lo voglio dire però e sottolineare, se la società non investe nella cultura e nell'istruzione non avrà nulla, non ci saranno diritti per nessuno, soprattutto non ci saranno diritti per le donne che vengono costantemente sconfitte nella loro lotta giorno dopo giorno. La lotta quotidiana, direi, per la democrazia continua però in Afghanistan, nonostante la paura per il regime dei talebani, soprattutto per quello che sta accadendo alla popolazione femminile e alla violenza, agli abusi contro le donne. E soprattutto ribadisco di nuovo il fatto che le donne non possano più accedere all'istruzione. Dovete sapere che avevamo costruito nel periodo precedente migliaia di nuove scuole, 7 milioni dei nostri ragazzi ogni anno potevano frequentare le scuole e raggiungere perlomeno un livello di diploma. Di questi una percentuale molto alta era femminile. Ora avevo anche promosso, oltre all'istruzione, l'eguaglianza dei generi, lo sviluppo delle risorse umane, l'educazione per gli uomini e per le donne a livello paritario. Ma nonostante la sconfitta, devo dire che il popolo afghano ha speranza.
This time is no different from the past. Currently, we face Taliban regime in Kabul, a repressive British force that has little or no support among Afghans, and their currency of ending war and insecurities depreciating by the passage of every day as they are unable to govern, to provide services and maintain peace and security. The attack on Sardar Dawood Hospital, which took place yesterday, and daily carnage and attacks against civilians are testimony to the inability of Taliban to ensure safety and security for Afghans. I should say that despite the fact that they took control of Afghanistan, they could do nothing but showing brutality by starting public execution, closing schools, summary and extrajudicial killings, torturing and arresting people, denying women to attend schools and go to work, and so many other vicious crimes against people. Under their control, people are suffering from malnutrition. Children are dying of hunger and poverty is spreading. This clearly shows that they are not going to be able to govern or control Afghanistan. They are an incompetent force in governing the country or providing public services and even maintaining law and order. Unfortunately, with Taliban power, other terrorist groups find courage to step up and expand their activities, grow in numbers, and strengthen their presence. ISIS is already gaining ground and recruiting. In the absence of strong support to the resistance force of Afghanistan by international community, these criminal groups would be able to attract thousands of youth from ethnically and politically marginalized and excluded Afghans who do not see themselves in the new image of the country. So what should we do? And I have to warn, Don't fall in the trap of attempts that are made to recognize Taliban. Many pundits may portray Taliban as the central authority in Afghanistan, so much so as if without them Afghanistan would collapse. With Taliban, Afghanistan already have collapsed, and Taliban cannot rescue Afghanistan. Taliban are challenged and disliked by majority of Afghans. Recognizing them will put Afghanistan into a new vicious cycle of conflict. Do not be naive to think Taliban has changed. Taliban has not and will not change. They are better in their PR and perhaps smarter. They cannot and will not comply with the international human rights law and instruments, and neither would listen to anyone. They will continue to suppress women and minority groups, violate human rights of Afghans, and cause further instability in the region. Do not submit to the Taliban brutal discriminatory policy towards women by giving money to international organizations who comply with Taliban's demand of women should not return to work or to schools. Do not allow ISIS to strengthen their presence and recruit from scared and vulnerable Afghans. Help students and scholars to preserve the scholarship, education, culture, and progress of Afghanistan. Help Afghan human rights movements, women and girls. Help Afghans who want to go out of Afghanistan and do not wish to live under Taliban. Help the international organization to understand the need of humanitarian assistance and comply with values of the UN so they do not appease Taliban. Protect every Afghan who ask for protection, but do not reward those who were incompetent and caused the collapse of the country to the hand of Taliban. Protection and promotion of human rights are a shared responsibility. I encourage you to do your part as the Afghans need support and assistance. Please help the Pavia University Initiative. Thank you very much.
Devo dire però che questa volta non è diversa dal passato. Anche in passato il regime dei talebani non era sostenuto dal popolo afghano, che era completamente lontano dagli attacchi ai diritti civili e dagli abusi, dalle violenze, dagli omicidi commessi da questo regime violento. Oggi il popolo soffre anche di malnutrizione, i bambini muoiono di fame, l'incompetenza di questo regime si vede dovunque. Si vede dovunque, in nessun settore questo regime riesce a venire incontro ai bisogni della popolazione. Esistono però le forze di resistenza. Queste forze sono composte da migliaia di giovani che non vedono in questo regime quello che vogliono per il loro paese e cercano di distaccarsi in tutti i modi. Quindi diciamo che l'Afghan talebano deve crollare perché non è amato da nessuno, non è amato da nessuno all'interno del popolo afghano. Come sapete il regime talebano non ha nessuna intenzione di aderire a quelli che sono gli accordi internazionali o delle Nazioni Unite per i diritti umani, per le minoranze, per le donne, l'abbiamo detto e ripetuto. Quindi io sono veramente felice di essere qui questa mattina a ringraziarvi per quello che fate. Quello di cui noi abbiamo bisogno è un aiuto e un sostegno agli studenti e agli studiosi. Abbiamo bisogno che ci aiutiate a portare avanti la nostra battaglia per i diritti umani. Abbiamo bisogno che sosteniate gli afghani che sono stati gettati fuori dal loro paese alla faccia di qualsiasi accordo, qualsiasi dettame delle Nazioni Unite. E io vi chiedo per favore aiutateci. Quindi veramente applaudo a questa grande iniziativa che sta facendo l'Università di Pavia e chiedo a tutti di sostenerla. Grazie.